I'm Don Beebe, the world champion Green Bay Packers and four-time Super Bowl contender Buffalo Bills. Over my career, I have received hundreds and hundreds of fan mail letters from people who want to know how to increase their speed. So over the next hour or so, I'm going to teach you my workouts, the techniques that I have learned to enhance my speed and quickness. Do not believe the adage that you cannot increase or be taught how to be fast. You may never be a 4.2 or 4.3 40-yard dasher, but you can definitely increase from a 4.8 to a 4.6 or a 4.6 to a 4.4. To help demonstrate these techniques, I have asked an expert in the field of speed enhancement, Dr. Jeff Shute, to join me. So prepare, sit back, take notes, and you will become faster. Before any exercise, you have to be properly warmed up. And like I said before, we have an expert in the field of speed enhancement, Dr. Jeff Shute. Doc, why don't you show us some of the techniques that you have taught me over the years on properly warming up?
I'd like to, Don. Don and I have been working together for the last few years, and one of the techniques that works real well with Don is the dynamic range of motion, or the DROM technique. The dynamic range of motion works on 5 different factors at the same time to prepare an athlete to go out onto the field. It works on blood flow, muscle lengthening, coordination, balance, and stability. When we can accomplish all 5 of these at the same time in a short period of time, it really makes the warm-up process go a lot faster. And as Don goes through and demonstrates the dynamic range of motion, we'll explain some of the technical principles behind it. The DROM warm-up. The dynamic range of motion, or DROM, is the main technique that we use to warm up. This technique is efficient because it utilizes 5 different training principles at the same time. It promotes blood flow, because the muscles need to be warm or adequately conditioned to be stretched. Stretching a cold muscle is a waste of time and can even damage the muscle. A muscle becomes warm by increasing the blood flow in the muscle. Increased blood flow is accomplished by muscle contraction. Muscle lengthening. Muscle lengthening prepares the muscle for the range of motions the joint will undergo during activity. Muscle lengthening also aids in resetting contractually short muscles due to poor posture or strength imbalance to their original length. Coordination. Flexibility is useless without the ability to control it. The nervous system must be programmed to coordinate the contraction of one muscle group as the other muscle group lengthens. Balance. The elite athlete demonstrates a high degree of balance. In this particular sequence, it is important to maintain balance without hopping around on one foot. Stability. Stability and control of the body leads to increased efficiency of movement and decreased chance of injury. All 5 of these factors are accomplished in this DROM warm-up, which involves the contraction of one muscle group while lengthening the opposing muscle groups. By maintaining good posture while performing these leverage positions, balance and stability are stimulated. One can feel the burning sensation in the hips if the stabilizing muscles are not strong. Coordination is enhanced as the nervous system is stimulated to contract and relax muscles as they would be used in conjunction throughout the activity or sport. There are no peculiar positions, only functional sports movements performed during the warm-up. The first phase is to stand tall in good posture. Lift the right knee to waist level or higher. While keeping the knee at this height, contract the thigh muscle to straighten the leg. Pull the toe back toward the shin, hold for 4 counts, then relax the leg. Perform 5 repetitions. On the 5th repetition, during the last 5 degrees of the range of motion, perform short, quick contractions to straighten the leg. We refer to this as terminal flex. With the knee still held at waist level or higher, rotate the leg inward. Hold 4 seconds, then rotate the leg outward. Hold another 4 seconds. Repeat for a total of 5 repetitions, with the last repetition performing the terminal flex. Stand tall and bring the leg out to the side to about 45 degrees. Hold for a second count and perform 5 repetitions with terminal flex. The next one, bring the leg straight back, hold for 4-second count, perform 5 reps with terminal flex. After the last hip hiker is done, then we want to warm up the upper body. With the arms straight, reach tall toward the ceiling as high as possible, stretching the shoulder girdle out. On the way down, depress the shoulder blades down and back. Next, we'll go to the rotational muscles, which you'll rotate the hands back as far as you can with the elbows at shoulder's height. Then rotate the hands forward and down as far as you can. Next, we'll keep the arms straight about shoulder height and squeeze the shoulder blades together and then cross them in front. The last phase is to warm the neck up. Turn to the right as far as you can, looking over your right shoulder. Hold for a brief pause, then turn to the left, look over the left shoulder, hold for a brief pause, perform about 5 repetitions on each side. Do not perform the terminal flex with the neck area. Next, we'll bring the right ear toward the right shoulder while at the same time reaching toward the ground with the left arm. This will stretch out the brachial plexus, which tends to get injured a lot in football. Perform the same movement to the other side. Now you've completed the dynamic range of motion warm-up. Once you get used to it, it'll take no more than 5 to 7 minutes, and it's prepared the body in the 5 different factors that we talked about earlier. Skipping. Skipping is important to the athlete that desires to be fast. Skipping puts the athlete's body into the correct position during a submaximal warm-up. Jogging actually is bad for the speed athlete because it promotes the nervous system to move the body improperly for speed mechanics. If most of the athlete's time is spent warming up, then why not use this time to teach the body correctly? An example is the thrusting leg in sprinting. The thrusting leg should reach full extension just before the foot leaves the ground. In skipping, this can be accomplished with minimum effort. In jogging, the thrusting leg never completely straightens, so the athlete may have trouble developing this muscle movement pattern and the strength needed to perform this motion. Some of the basic skips that we use to warm the athlete up and teach the mechanics of skipping are the following skips. The march skip, or foot-to-knee skip. Make sure the athlete skips in a cross-crawl pattern or opposite arm to opposite leg. Again, the running form we want to accomplish in the skipping pattern is the foot by the opposite knee, elbows bent 90 degrees. Heel to buttock skip. This will activate the hamstring muscles and get them ready for use. This will also help program the quadriceps muscle to lengthen quickly. The ankle flip skip. This skip teaches the pop needed in the ankle joint for fast running. Keep the legs together as if you had a rubber band tying the ankles and the knee joint together. Skip and kick. This skip teaches the hamstrings to lengthen quickly. As the athlete brings the knee to waist height, kick the foot straight out to contract the quadriceps, which will lengthen the hamstrings. The pawing skip. This skip resembles a horse pawing the ground. It teaches the athlete to fire the buttock and hamstring muscles quickly, which propel the body forward. This skip is hard for some athletes to learn. Make sure to keep the correct body lean and to contact the ground with the ball of the foot. Contact should come at a point under the hip joint and not in front of the body. Running form is what we want to talk about next. Proper running form can increase the efficiency of an athlete. You'll have people that are fast and poor running form can still move down the track, but if we can get the movements efficient and in proper physics, it'll allow the athlete to speed up even more. The first thing we want to talk about is good posture while running. Unfortunately, many athletes bend forward at the waist when they try to get their body lean. This is incorrect because it will cause improper mechanics around the hamstrings and quads. What we want is a nice tall position and to lean forward just to the point before you have to take a step. That's the proper body lean that can use gravity to your advantage. The next thing we want to take a look at is the arms. The arms are the timing device. The faster you move the arms, the faster the legs have to go in sequence. So if we can keep the arms moving fast, when an athlete gets tired and the coach tells him to pump his arms, that's what they're talking about. The arms move faster, thus the legs will follow. What we want is to keep the elbows approximately about 90 degrees. As Don cycles these arms back and forth, the hand should come no higher than the chin, and the elbow should come so that the back arm is about parallel to the ground. And the elbow will open up slightly to the front, and then will again open up and slightly close in the back. Don't try to get too technical and worry about that. Just keep it basically about 90 degrees. And again, the reason is that if Don would run with his arms straight, it makes a long lever, and a long lever in physics is a lot longer to move than a short lever. Also, another thing that athletes will do is that they will tend to pump and straighten the arms back in this position forward instead of keeping the elbow angled all 90 degrees and moving from the more powerful muscles of the shoulder girdle itself. This is where the power will come from in the arm movement. The next thing we want to take a look at is leg placement. As Don cycles his legs around, we'll want the leg to come by so the foot travels by his opposite knee. Again, it's a short lever, long lever principle. What we want is for him to cycle back, and as on the back position, as he moves his leg back, he'll keep that toe pulled toward the shin so that when he recoils it by the opposite knee, he can kick it out, snap it back, and the foot will hit directly under the hip joint. Go ahead and demonstrate the foot hitting out in front of the body, Don. So this is what we see a lot of athletes will do. They'll keep that toe pointed and freeze right there. You'll see that the foot will hit way out in front of the hip joint, and this will cause a braking action or a deaccelerating action. So if you can tie all those factors in of keeping the proper body form, your athlete will speed down the track with much more efficiency and not tire out nearly as quick. It does take energy to maintain this form, but it's like any other athletic technique. Once he perfects it, he will become more efficient in his energy expenditure.
Well, the next few minutes, I'm going to give you some great tips and techniques on how to get a great start in a 40-yard dash, 60-yard dash, or 100-yard dash. No matter what sport you play, boy or girl, you're going to be tested in the 40-yard dash, and it's vital that you get a great time because it'll open up eyes. Ask me. I'm talking from first experience there. What I'm going to tell you is that if you get a great 10-yard start, a great burst of energy from the start, you're going to have a great 40 time. So a lot of technique goes into the start. I see so many kids, they just go down, they get into position, and then they get here, and then they just start. First of all, their technique is not great. Mentally, they're not ready to run, and both of those things are very vital. So let's just go through a few tips that I have learned over the years that have helped me have great 40 times. The first thing I want you to do is I want to put your left foot, figure out if you're left-footed or right-footed in putting your foot forward. How do you do this? When you go up to do a layup in basketball, do you jump off your left foot, or are you stronger off your right foot? Whatever one you're stronger, put that one in front. Now, you could be a 1-foot jumper or you can be a 2-foot jumper. Do you jump better off 1 foot or you jump better off 2 feet? If you're a 1-foot jumper, you put that first like this. If you're a 2-foot jumper, you put them back like this together like a Ben Johnson would from the Canadian team in the Olympics when he set the world record. He was a 2-foot jumper, so he came out with 2 feet. First thing I'm going to talk about is the 1-foot start. Now I'm better at 1 foot, so I'm better at this way, so I'll do this one, and the 2-foot one I'll just briefly go through. What I want you to do is with your left foot, get it right up to the line. Let's say this yellow stripe right here is the starting line. Get it all the way up there. A lot of kids will just get up to the starting line, put their hand there, and their foot is 8 to 10 inches behind the line. Right now I'm already 8 to 10 inches ahead of you. And in a 40-yard dash, that's a lot. Put your left foot down on the line, put your right foot down on the line, sit here, crouch comfortably, so you're very comfortable, so you can move this arm like this, and put the left hand or left arm on your left knee. Now you're mentally getting yourself ready. Take that deep breath. Now this is the very important part, is all in one motion, you take your left hand and you bring it back as you're leaning way forward. Now if I take my right hand off the track, I'm going to fall straight down on my face. That's what you want to do. So it's like this, you're comfortable, lean way over and cock your arm in this fashion. Now, most kids, like I said before, were 8 to 10 inches back here, put their hand here and just went from here. Okay, now look at me. I'm 8 to 10 inches farther than you, plus I'm leaning way forward. I'm a good foot there. So I'm almost 2 feet farther than the guy next to me that doesn't have real good technique. 2 feet in a 40-yard dash is a lot. So, get in this position again. Your other foot now should not be behind the foot, not behind your left foot, should not be straight. Girls have a tendency to do this a lot. They get these feet too much lined up. Get them shoulder width apart and in a comfortable position. Don't get it too far back and don't get it too far close. real comfortable, and only, each individual will know which is comfortable for them. Now, when you lean forward and you come out, your first step will be with your right foot. Do not put it too short and do not put it too long. If you put it too short, you won't get enough power out of there, and your start will be not as quick. If you put it too long, watch what happens when I put my foot too long. What's that? I'm standing straight up. That's no good. In a 40-yard dash, it probably takes me a good 8 yards before I'm standing straight up in full spin, in a full sprint. You want to come out low so it would look something like this. Very comfortable step. Not too long, not too short. Better short than long. Now, with this left arm, this is very important here. This left arm here, when you come back and you lean forward, really throw this arm forward so it'd be like this. Bam! In this position. Not out here. Don't keep it here. Bam! Right there. Should be almost up to your head level when you're coming out. So it should look something like this. Now, I think this is the most important part of your start. After all those techniques and tips that I just gave you, this is the most important thing. Mentally, in my mind, I know I'm going to whoop that person next to me, okay? So in my mind, I'm getting that starting block, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to whoop him. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to beat him down. This is what I'm thinking to myself, okay? You don't have to be talking like that, but this is what I'm thinking. And you're just going to explode. Mentally, you're telling me I'm going to explode out of these blocks. I'm going to be so fast, so quick, that it would look something like this on your first step. Bam! That's the way you want to come out of the blocks. So mentally, you are just flying out of the blocks. Now, briefly on the two feet, what I like to call the jump start, Ben Johnson start. You get comfortable in your position here at 2 feet, get down like this, like you would almost squatting. And what you want to do is get down like this. Again, when you come up and you're set like this, lean forward. So if both of my arms get taken out, I'm going to fall flat on my face. Okay? That lean forward is very important because it forces you to come out low. Lean forward like this, and what you want to do is, bam, that's your position again. Okay? Not too short of a step, not too long of a step. Again, very comfortable, but this is vital that you throw that arm forward because what it's doing is telling me mentally you're firing out of there and you're going to beat this guy next to you. And you're going to get a great time in the 40-yard dash or whatever sprint you run. So it would look something like this on your first step. Bam! That's how it would look. So I hope these tips and techniques help you in your, if you're going to go on to the next level, college, professional, whatever sport you do, the 40-yard dash, people are going to look at that. And you must get a great time because it helped me, believe me. Plyometrics, or jump training drills, are important to the athlete because it will not only help them jump higher, but also it aids the athlete in speed and power. Before we teach athletes how to jump, we teach them how to land. An athlete does not usually get hurt in the air, but when they land. The first step in learning the proper form for landing, we call this perching. We want the athlete to land softly like a cat. The athlete should land with the toe first, then the heel, then bending the knees so the force of the landing is absorbed in the big muscles of the leg instead of knee joints or the lower back. The knee should be in alignment with the second toe. If the knee goes in, this may cause damage to the cartilage and ligaments of the knee joint or promote arthritis later in life. Many athletes land with more force on one leg compared to the other leg. This can hurt the spine over time. A good drill to correct this is to use a balance board. Jump from the ground onto the balance board, landing in the correct toe, heel, bending the knee form without touching the side down. At first, this may be tough to do, but with a little practice, it can be done. Now that we have learned the basics of landing, we can add the jumping to it. The first drill would be to load and hold. Jump down from a box approximately 6 to 12 inches high. Land in the toe, heel, bend the knees form. Next, jump down from the box, but while in the air, turn 90 degrees. Work on landing in the correct form, even though the momentum will tend to carry the athlete sideways. Turn to both sides. The last progression in this exercise is to turn 180 degrees and land in the correct form. The momentum in the jump will tend to carry you backward. The second drill would be to explode and hold. We have now mastered the falling from a box and landing in the correct form. Now we will work on jumping onto a box and landing in the correct form. Start with a small box and work up to higher boxes. Always keep good form in the landings. Form in jumping is just as important as form in running. The arms should be bent 90 degrees if possible because a short lever is quicker to move than a long lever. The arm movement should slightly precede the legs. In multiple jumps, the arms should be behind the body so that when the feet hit the ground, the body will be ready to fire back up quickly again. The next drill is the 6 count with the mini tram. We start our intense jump training by using mini trams. Mini trams are an excellent way to train body control and the hip turn while in the air. Also, while the athlete is learning the skill, the mini tram will absorb some of the shock on the body so it will not harm the athlete's joints. The mini tram can throw an athlete off balance if he does not maintain good body control. Have an experienced coach and spotter nearby for safety. In this drill, we have 2 mini trams on each side of a jump box. The athlete will jump from one tram to the box, drop down to the next tram, jump and turn in the air by rotating the hips. Land with the arms in the ready position to fire up on the box. Perform this drill slowly at first, then speed it up. Remember to always turn toward the same direction. This makes the athlete use a hip turn to both the right and left sides. The next drill is the 6 count without mini tram. Find a grass or soft surface and perform this drill without the aid of a mini tram. This will cause the athlete to develop the spring from his legs without relying on the mini tram. The next drill is the side-to-side mini tram jumps. With the mini trams, place on the side of the box, jump sideways onto the box, land in good form and drop down to the box on the other side. The arms should be in the ready position so that as soon as the feet touch the tram, the arms will fire up and the athlete can jump immediately back onto the box. The next drill is front to back. Use a mini hurdle or small object that will not hurt you if you land on it and jump forward and backward over it as fast as you can. The next drill is side to side. Use the mini hurdle and jump back and forth over the hurdle as fast as you can. Keep the arms in rhythm. The next drill is speed steps. Use a small box or the bottom step of a stairway if there is enough room in your house. Start with one foot on the box and position the arms in the running motion position. This should be an opposite arm to opposite leg position. Cycle the legs and arms by alternating the feet on the box. See how many times in 5 seconds you can touch the lead foot to the box while maintaining proper form. Switch feet as the lead foot. Keep a record of how many touches you can make and try to better that record with each practice. The next drill is ski hops. Similar to the speed steps except that you will be facing sideways. Both feet should hit at the same time. Again, keep track of how many times your feet hit in a 5-second period. The next drill is drop and sprint. This drill helps teach the pop needed for a quick start. Drop from a box about 6 to 12 inches high, landing both feet at once. As soon as the feet hit, fire out as you would in the start of a race. The next drill is jump and sprint. Similar to the drop and sprint, but this time the athlete will jump either straight up or over the box and take off running. The next drill is layup jumps. Stand sideways on a box that keeps the thigh about parallel or slightly below parallel. Drive the knee of the leg on the floor up to the chest, then quickly bring it down to softly land on it using the toe-heel bend-the-knee form. As soon as this foot touches the ground, drive up with the knee and repeat back and forth for 6 reps on each leg. The next drill is tuck jumps. Stand and jump straight up, bringing both knees to the chest. Land and quickly repeat. Perform 6 reps before resting. The next drill is hitch hops. Hold one knee at waist high. Jump and bring the other knee to the same level as the knee held at waist high. Work up to 6 reps in a row, then switch to the other leg. The next drill is multiple box jumps. Line up several boxes that gradually increase in height, no more than 6 boxes. Start at the smallest box and work up to the highest box. When doing box jumps, do not use a height that is too much for the athlete to handle. A good way to determine if a box is the right height is to have the athlete test standing on the ground their vertical jump. Then have the athlete stand on the box and jump off. When the feet hit the ground, spring up and try to touch the same height as he tested when he was standing on the ground. If the athlete cannot jump up and reach the same height, then he does not have enough strength in his legs and back to handle that height of a box. An advanced version is to use this protocol for single leg jumping onto the same boxes. The next drill is zigzag jumps. Line up many hurdles in a different direction so that the athlete will jump forward, then to both sides. This will help teach the athlete how to handle a sudden change of direction. Advanced form is to perform this with one leg only.
Eagle jumps. Eagle jumps are great to perform because this drill forces the athlete to cycle his feet by the opposite knee while being in rhythm with the arm swing. Perform this drill over a mini hurdle or some object that will not hurt if it is accidentally kicked or stepped on. Keep the elbows bent 90 degrees. Jump up and cycle the legs in the opposite arm to leg rhythm. As the athlete gets more proficient, try to perform 6 jumps in a row without spending a lot of time on the ground. When working with Don, I like to use an advanced version of the eagle jumps by making Don perform a double scissors movement. Similar to figure skating, diving, or gymnastics, we then pushed the envelope of this drill, and Don was able to perform a triple scissors movement. Not shown in this sequence, but we also used the speed trainer device that Don does most of his hill work with. This device stimulated the muscles to swing the leg faster when used in the eagle jump drill.
To develop quick feet, you actually have to develop quick hips. Power comes from the body's center of gravity, which is in the hip area. Where the hips go, the body will follow. The following drills help teach the athlete to move his hips and feet quickly. The first is the soccer tennis ball drill. 2 athletes are needed to play this game. The athletes pass the tennis ball back and forth, and they can try to score on each other by kicking a tennis ball past each other. The athletes are only allowed to touch the tennis ball with the named part of their foot to kick or stop the ball. The progression would proceed as follows. First, start the drill by kicking from your inside of your right foot to your partner's inside of his right foot, then switch to the outer side of your right foot to his outer side. Then go over to your left foot, start with your inside of your left foot, then go to the outer side of your left foot. There are different games that you can play with. You just make up your own if you want to, but the drill is supposed to get quick hips and quick feet at the same time. This drill teaches the athlete to be light on his feet, staying on the balls of his feet, and how to get his hips around quickly in order to get his feet in position. Another drill is the dot drill. Place a dot in front of the athlete and have him touch the dot with his feet by alternating feet. See how many times he can touch the dot in 5 seconds. Then try the dot drill behind the athlete. Place the dot behind the athlete and see how many times he can touch the dot in 5 seconds. The next drill is the ladder skipping drills. Skipping in the ladder forces the athlete to move his feet one more time than he would like to. Skipping also promotes good mechanics of sprinting. The first drill in the skipping of the ladder is the march skip. Simply march through the ladder, touching each foot twice while you skip through the ladder. The next one is the change of direction skip. This skip teaches the athlete to lead with the hips when changing direction. Notice that the athlete should lead with his knee and not with his foot. The foot should travel by the opposite knee. If the foot travels lower than the opposite knee, this will create stress on the lower back. Practice this drill moving in both directions. Once it is easy to swivel the hips, then proceed on to the next step of performing this drill while moving forward. This will stimulate running straight ahead and changing direction quickly. The next is the karaoke skip. To perform the karaoke movement while skipping, it is important to swivel the hips, especially when the foot goes behind the other foot. If the athlete does not move his hips, then he will find it hard to perform this drill. This drill teaches very quick feet. Another skip is the side-to-side jumping skip. To properly learn how to cut or juke on the outside leg, the athlete must learn how to contact the ground properly. The foot should land on the big toe side and push off from the big toe side. If the foot lands on the little toe side, then the athlete's momentum may cause him to take an extra hop, or the ankle may give out and the athlete could end up with a sprained ankle. Start out skipping because it allows the athlete to take an extra hop, then proceed to single hops or more of a bounding drill. Next we have the start and stop drill. This drill teaches an athlete to change directions quickly from front to back. Perform this drill by stepping both in a box, then stepping both feet out of the box, and then advance to the next box. Make sure to keep the arms in rhythm with the legs. Remember that if an athlete starts to slow down, then he should move the arms faster. This will help him speed up his legs. Do not allow the athlete to perform this drill with his arms at his side. This next drill is an excellent drill to teach a shift of the hips from a forehand to a backhand in tennis or a drop step in football or basketball. Perform this drill by alternating the feet in the box as the athlete is going down the ladder. The right foot will step in the first box, then stepping out before the left foot steps in the next box. The quicker the athlete uses his midsection muscles to rotate the hips, the quicker the feet will move. The next one is the juke drill. This is one drill which teaches the athlete to cut or juke while moving forward. Step both feet into a box and then step out to the side of the ladder. Landing on the big toe side of the ball of the foot, advance up a box and step out to the opposite of the ladder with the opposite foot. Each time a foot steps out to the side, advance to the next box. This will stimulate moving forward and making a juke move to the side to avoid a defender. The linebacker shuffle. This drill is good for any athlete that needs to learn how to move quickly sideways without bringing his feet together. Move sideways along the ladder. Start with one box between the feet. Start with the lead leg so that the two boxes are now between the feet. Step with the back foot so that now there is only one box between the feet. Always keep at least one box between the feet at all times. The figure eight jump. This drill will help teach the athlete to move his hips quickly. Start with both feet straddling the side of the ladder. Keep the upper body facing down the ladder while moving forward. Jump with both feet so that now they are straddling the rung of the ladder. Both feet should land at the same time. Work your way down the ladder by figure eight motion. Make the hip turn as quick as possible. The next one is the wide leg hip turns. In this drill, pretend that there is a stick between both legs. This will help prevent the athlete from crossing his feet. Keep the upper body facing down the length of the ladder, but turn the hips so that you can alternate the feet in the boxes of the ladder. Next is the forward lean drill. Stand at the head of the ladder, stand tall, and lean the whole body forward just to the point that the athlete does not fall forward. Try to keep this lean as the athlete jumps with both feet into each box down the ladder as fast as he can. This drill will force the athlete to move his feet quicker in order to get them to land in each box. Do not worry if the athlete's lean gets him slightly out of control. This feeling out of control will stimulate him to get those feet moving faster in order to keep up with his body. After the forward lean drill, perform the same drill on one foot. Try to land softly on the foot and not sound like an elephant. The cutting drill. Make corners in the ladder by folding it in a different direction. Practice cutting on the outside leg and the inside leg. The mini hurdle cutting drill. This drill can be used to practice cutting on the inside leg. Use the high knee crossover move with the outside leg to step over the small hurdle. The last one is the side-to-side hurdle drill. Line up several hurdles in a row with the appropriate distance in between them. This distance will depend on the size of the athlete. One person should point in a direction that the athlete should move. Try to change direction quickly without taking a false step. This will help teach the athlete how to keep his center of gravity. If the upper body is far too over the center of gravity, his body momentum may cause him to take an extra step, which will slow his change of direction down. When looking at the athlete from the front as he makes the cut, you should be able to draw a line from his opposite shoulder to the opposite leg. Now I come to my favorite part of my whole workout, what I like to call running of the hills. In the background here we have a very steep hill, and behind the camera here we have a hill that's not so steep. Where I got this workout from was from probably the greatest running back of all time, Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears. When I was in high school, I learned what he did, and I took it upon myself to do it myself. I've been doing it now for probably 15, 20 years. There's three things that you need to know about your hill workouts. One, pick out a hill that's pretty steep, but the very important part is that it doesn't have holes, undulations in it that you can sprain an ankle or a knee. Make sure it's pretty flat surface. Same thing with your hill on the downhill. Make sure that's the same thing. No holes there either. The other thing is you need proper footing. I like to use my football cleats, a 10-studded cleat, the ones that I use in the games or in practice, because when the grass is wet or it has rained or something like that, tennis shoes you'll always slip, especially downhill, and that's very dangerous, so I use cleats. Baseball cleats are good too, but football cleats are the best. The third and most important thing that I can tell you about hill workout is using of the speed trainer, this apparatus in my right hand here. This apparatus I use not only in hill work, but in my whole workout almost. It's very easy to put on. You just strap this thing around your waist like so, and then this pouch is down here. It has 3 one-pound weights, one on the right-hand side, one in the middle, and one in the left. All you do is undo the Velcro on the back, strap it around your thigh. Now this is very important. You have to make sure that this middle weight here is directly over your kneecap and in the middle of your thigh. You do the same thing with the other side. Now for a beginner, my advice is to do with just a speed trainer on with no weights, work up to 1 weight, work up to 2 weights, then work up to 3. They're very easy to put in and out of here, out of these slots, and I recommend that because the more advanced you get, the more weight you're going to want to use. Now why do I use these things? Because it gives me a good resistance in my hip flexor muscle, which is very vital in your speed training. When you're going like this and running, this muscle here is vital. Same thing with back here, and it works both areas. What I do is when I strap these things on, I like to put it a little bit tense here, and how you do that is this apparatus here. You just pull this here, you make it more tight, give you more resistance, or loosen it up and give you less resistance. I like about a medium resistance, not real heavy, but a medium resistance because I like to feel something pulling here when I'm running. Then when you take these off, you feel really light. The greatest analogy that I could give you would be a baseball player going up, swinging a bat a few times before he goes up to the plate with a donut on his bat. It creates a heavier feel. Takes that donut off, gets up there, and boy, he feels like he can just crank a home run because that bat's really light. Same thing with here. You take these things off, you train up the hill maybe 4 or 5 reps, then take it off and do a couple reps without it, boy, you feel like you can go 100 miles an hour. The only difference is when that baseball player takes that donut off, he has that feeling for about a minute or two, then it's gone. Not with these. These are building your hip flexor muscles and muscles back here in your buttocks and hamstring, which will last a lifetime. So you put these things on, and you join me on the hill work. And the only tip that I have for you now is you better be in great shape because this thing is tough. Hill work, I believe, is one of the best types of workouts you can do to improve your overall power and your overall speed and quickness. Only do hill work once and no more than twice a week because it is extremely hard on the body, but it is very beneficial. You know how the adage goes, if something is tough or hard to accomplish, then once you have achieved it, the more you have accomplished. You should choose two different hills. One hill that is pretty steep and about 50 to 100 yards high. The other hill should have a gradual slope to it, and it also should be 50 to 100 yards long. There are 7 different drills I like to do for my hill workout. Do each one 3 to 5 reps and about 20 to 50 yards for each exercise. I'll use a speed trainer for the first 3 reps, then the last 2 reps with them off. The first drill I like to do is the high knee. This is done for power. Make sure you get your knees as high as you can. The second one is bounding. Make sure you stride as far and as long as you can while staying on the balls of your feet. The next exercise is the one-legged triple jump. Unlike the bounding, stress getting up in the air instead of out. The fourth is the backward run. Reach back as far as you can while going up the hill. This is great for defensive backs. The next exercise is the two-legged hop. Jump as high as you can while moving up the hill. This is great for your vertical jump. The sixth one is the one-legged hop. Do the same as the two-legged hop, but now only use one leg, and the next one do the other leg. The last exercise is sprinting. Sprint as fast as you can, going 40 to 60 yards uphill. Then move to the smaller hill and sprint downhill in the same fashion. Balance and stability exercises are probably the most overlooked aspect of most training programs. Yet these drills do the most to promote athleticism. Oculomotor drills, or the ability to keep your eye on the ball, is critical in 90% of all sports. Many times an athlete will be told by his coach to keep his eye on the ball. Yet what drills are ever done to promote this ability to keep the eye on the ball? The main tool we use is the O-beam. This beam is a balance beam about 6 inches wide and 12 to 14 feet long. Underneath this beam, we have put 3 styrofoam pads to make the beam unstable. The athlete must balance the beam while moving. This promotes muscular control around the ankles, knees, hips, and spine. Another important aspect of body control is the vestibular system or balancing system of the body, which is located in the inner ear. We teach the athlete to keep his head still and follow the ball with his eyes, because every time the head moves, the balancing system in the inner ear has to readjust, which takes milliseconds of time. In sports such as baseball, you only have a millisecond to hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. In the following drills, we will show you how to use the O-beam in different progression stages. The first stage is toe-to-heel walking. Walk along the length of the beam, keeping a tall posture while looking straight ahead. Do not look down at your feet. Sometimes it is helpful to put a beanbag on top of the head. This will help the athlete maintain a good head posture. The ears should be in line with the shoulder. This will prevent a forward head posture, which in time will cause problems in the athlete's neck and lower back. As the athlete walks along the beam, he should step and touch the ball of the foot first, then the heel, then shift the body weight onto the leg. The athlete should be sure of his foot position on the beam before he shifts his weight onto that leg. With practice, this will happen very quickly. When the athlete comes to the end of the beam, he should rise up on both toes, pivot, and walk back the other way. The second stage is backward walking. Walk backwards on the beam with the same technique of touching the toe first, then the heel, then shifting the weight to that foot. The third stage is side to side. Stay on the balls of the feet while moving sideways. If the athlete feels himself falling backwards, then he should tighten his stomach. If he feels himself falling forward, then he should tighten his buttocks. The fourth stage is side-to-side squat. With each step, go into a squat. Make sure that the knee is aligned over the second toe. The fifth stage, karaoke walk on the beam. Make sure to keep the heels up or the beam will rock backward. The next step is to advance to catching drills on the beam. Start with the oculomotor training, which means training the eyes to follow an object. The athlete should walk along the beam as just demonstrated, while a partner holds a ball in front of him. The partner will move the ball in different directions. The athlete should keep his head still and follow the ball with his eyes only. Once the athlete can perform this drill without stepping off or moving the head, then proceed to throwing and catching the ball. The O-beam is excellent for pass receiving work. Walk on the beam while a partner passes the ball. The beam will tend to throw the athlete off, so he will need to concentrate on the ball. Body control will become second nature as the athlete gets better at this drill. Catch the ball while walking forward, backward, side to side, and even over the shoulder. A very advanced method is to look to one side while the partner throws over the other shoulder. The athlete must turn his body quickly and readjust his balance. This stimulates the ball getting caught in the wind or simply a bad throw. This drill can be modified for baseball as well. One of the most overlooked methods to increase speed in an athlete is arm speed. The arms slightly precede the legs when running or jumping. The legs can only cycle as fast as the arms cycle. If we can increase the speed of the arm cycle, theoretically we can increase the leg swing speed as well. The following drills can be done to increase upper body quickness. The first drill is arm swing sitting on the floor. The athlete sits on the floor and keeps his elbows bent 90 degrees throughout the arm swing. For 5 seconds, he moves the arms back and forth as fast as he can. This drill helps teach the athlete to keep the elbows bent 90 degrees. If that athlete straightens the arms, then his hands will hit the floor. The second drill is the arm swing drill, standing. The athlete stands with one leg ahead of the other while standing in one spot. Swing the arms back and forth as quickly as possible. The goal of this exercise is to determine how many arm swings the athlete can perform in a 5-second period. Olympic sprinters can perform about 4 to 5 arm cycles per second. The third drill is arm swing tag. Have the athlete stand with one leg ahead of the other with arms in sprint form position. Hold a pad or soft object that will not hurt the athlete behind the elbow. Have the athlete try to touch the pad before the partner can move it out of the way. The athlete will need to relax and think of the movement happening in the blink of an eye. It takes a very quick arm swing to be able to touch the pad before it moves. Perform the same drill to the front as well, with both arms. The fourth drill is hand slap drill. 2 people are required for this drill. One athlete will have his arms out in front with the palms down while standing in athletic position. The other athlete will face him in the same athletic position but have the palms up. The athlete with the palms up will try to touch the top of the first athlete's hands before that athlete can move his hands out of the way. Do not let the hands touch in the beginning because we want this drill to be a reaction drill from sight and not touch. There is no faking allowed. Each athlete should perform 5 hand slaps. Try to see who can get the most touches in. The fifth drill is the double hand slap, a variation of the preceding drill, except this time the athlete doing the slapping uses only one hand and he will try to touch the top of both hands with his one hand. An athlete can usually get one, but it is tough to get both hands. Another drill is the ball drop. Use an old tennis ball or any other ball you can find. Have the athlete stand in an athletic position with his hands out. The partner will hold the ball between the hands. Without warning, the partner will open his fingers, letting the ball drop to the floor. The athlete will need to catch the ball from the top side of the ball before the ball touches the floor. It is important to drop the hips down and not bend forward at the waist. If the athlete catches the ball easily, then the partner should start the ball closer to the ground. The athlete keeps his hands in the same height. Try to find a distance to the ground that is just out of the reach of the athlete. This will force the athlete to move faster and drop his center of gravity quicker than he normally would. Now we get into a more advanced ball dropping drills. This one is called the 1 or 2 ball drop drill. Another variation of the ball drop drill is to have the partner drop either one or both balls. The athlete will need to react to the situation by either catching 1 or 2 balls. The purpose of this drill is to simulate quick decision making as well as quick reaction. Another one is the opposite hand catch. In this variation, the partner will be holding 2 balls but only dropping one of them. The athlete will need to catch the ball with the opposite hand, so if the left ball is dropped, the athlete will need to catch it with the right hand. Again, this stimulates quick decision making with a quick reaction. The circle catch drill is a drill that can be done by yourself. Hold a tennis ball in your hand and simply open your fingers to let it drop to the ground. Before it hits the ground, circle the ball with your hand and catch it from the top. Practice both clockwise and counterclockwise and practice with both arms. Once a single circle is accomplished, try to do a double circle and catch the ball.
Learning how to fall is very important because almost everyone will experience a fall sometime in their life. As you can see from the clip we just showed you, Don experienced many tough falls and hits during his 9 years in the NFL.
Yeah, and Jeff, I'll tell you, people, that clip you just saw, that's how you not want to fall.
Absolutely. We want to learn how to protect the head, and we're going to show you some of the methods you can do to help protect different parts of the body. Don and I teach a sports performance program, and we're one of the few people in the area that teaches athletes how to fall without hurting themselves. Injuries are inevitable sometimes in sports, but if you can learn techniques that lessen your chance of severe injuries, all the much better. So what we want to do is teach an athlete how to control the body. Our best example is a basketball player that we worked with who was going up for a layup, and he had his legs taken out from under him. He simply turned his body and rolled out of it on the hardwood gym floor. And that's what we want to show you, the basics of how to do. We do recommend that you find a coach or somebody qualified to maybe help you through this, because you can see learning how to fall is not easy.
Well, like Jeff said, he's going to show us some techniques and stuff like that so you viewers at home can get a gist of what it's, how you can prevent yourself from serious injuries. So the first thing we want to talk about today is I guess, the roll.
One of the first things we want to show with you is how to protect certain areas of the body, because you don't get hurt in the air, you get hurt when you land on the ground. And the main thing we want to protect is the head, or the brain. The brain is the master computer for the body. If you have a head injury or a brain injury, then nothing else in the body works quite well. On that clip, you showed Don landing on the head. Well, Don's had 6 concussions during his NFL experience, and of course, we don't want to pass that on to any more of our athletes out there. So one thing that we can help is to try to learn ways to help protect that head. So we want to keep the head from touching the floor at all times if possible. The other thing is landing on this tailbone. A lot of times a person will slip on the ice or get their legs taken out from under them, land directly on that tailbone and crack that tailbone, and that can affect the whole spine later on. One of the biggest things we see with athletes is when they reach back to try to brace themselves with falling. You'll see many top-level athletes even break their wrist, elbow, shoulder, or the force even go into the neck when they throw those arms back. It's kind of a natural instinct, but we can teach you how to overcome that and work on ways to fall with the body and not injure those areas. So the first thing we want to do is teach body control. Don's just going to go roll back and forth here, and as you notice, he's going to keep his chin tucked in because we don't want the head ever touching the mat. And this simple drill just teaches him how to learn body control by using his stomach muscles to roll back and forth and yet not go far enough to where that head's going to make contact with the ground. Now the next one is we need to learn how to go forward, backward, and sideways using the body control. So Don's going to sit in kind of the butterfly position here, hands grabbing the ankles. Let's turn and face the camera here just a bit so they can get a good idea of that position. Arms are inside the elbows, and I'm going to back out of the way as Don demonstrates this. But Don's going to roll to one side, then over across the top of his shoulder blades and around in a nice circular fashion. And he should be able to control his body so that when he gets into the falling techniques, he'll be able to move his body anytime he wants to. Now, if he goes so long and gets dizzy that way, simply roll the other way, and it'll balance the body out. Good. Now, we'll have you turn sideways again here, Don. Now what we want to do is to work on his ability to roll back, and he's going to come to the standing position right from there. So he's going to learn how to control with his stomach muscles the force momentum needing to go from a laying down to a standing position. Okay. As he gets rocking back and forth, then he's going to try to get enough momentum he can come straight up on his feet. Now, eventually we want to get it to the point where he can come straight to that point without taking a step, and that's very tough to do. The next thing we want to teach is how to roll over one shoulder without letting the head touch the mat. So we want to be able to roll over, throw the legs to one side, kind of at a 45-degree angle, and yet keep the chin tucked in to where the head does not make full contact with the ground. The hair may touch slightly, but the base of the skull should not contact. The next step is to roll all the way over keeping the head off the ground. You will throw both legs over one shoulder, kind of at a 45-degree angle. Notice how Don keeps his chin tucked in and head moved to the opposite side of the direction the legs are throwing. That way his head does not come into contact with the ground. If you do a back somersault, where you roll directly over the head, that can damage the neck and the cervical area, resulting in permanent muscle or nerve damage. The next progression is to start from a standing position. Try to drop the buttock area as close to the heels as soon as possible. This prevents hard contact with the ground. Throw both arms forward as if catching a ball or throwing a ball, and this also aids in getting the hands from reaching back. As you roll backwards, throw the feet over one shoulder as we did in the previous drill, turn the head to the side, and you should be able to roll over without the head making contact with the ground. Again, we're working on protecting the brain and head from injury. The next progression we want to advance to is ability to fall backwards while moving backwards. Don will walk backwards. When he feels the mat, he will do the same technique in the roll that we just talked about. Eventually, he will work up to where he can sprint backwards, hit an object, and drop himself into proper form and do the roll. The next progression we want to work on is to have the athlete concentrate on something besides just the fall. Because what will happen during sports is that while the play is going on, he doesn't have time to think about falls. So his goal here is just to catch and throw the football back and forth while he does his fall. And I'm even going to throw it at him while he's falling, because that still takes his mind off the fall, and the fall has to be second nature to where he protects his body. Now, I'm not going to throw it directly to him all the time. I'm going to make him reach a little bit, so it makes him concentrate even more on the throwing and catching part. The next advanced step that we're going to work on is throwing Don off balance while he's backing up. He's going to back up, and I'm going to throw this dummy down at his feet, but he doesn't know when that's going to happen. Again, it's just like simulated in sports. A fall can come at any time, and your body's got to be ready to react. Good, those look good. One more. Good. The next most advanced step that we're going to work on is while Don's backing up, I'm going to change the placement of this pad, and he won't know exactly where it's going to be at. And again, we're working on him learning how to fall at any time during the exercise. Yep. Okay. Now that we've talked a little bit about how to do a back fall, we also want to teach you how to fall while going forward. Don's going to demonstrate. He's going to get down on one knee in our starting position. He's going to put the hands so that both hands are facing back toward the rear leg. What this does is it opens his body up so that it puts his body at the right turn that we want. From the front view, we're going to have Don roll along this arm, not over the tip of the shoulder, but over just that back muscle part of the shoulder. If you feel pain in the tip of the shoulder, you're definitely doing it wrong. So we want to go over the back muscle part, across the body to the opposite hip. It's important to keep the head over and tucked in. That leaves a lot of space here for the roll to take place. Don's going to turn sideways to show you a little bit better of an angle. See how this knee is up, this leg's back. Again, we're going to go from this arm, the body makes a wheel across the opposite hip. Turn a little bit more this way. And the fall is contact to the ground is going to come across this angle of the body. We don't want to roll along the length of the spine because that can damage or bruise the bones of the spine. We want to keep it across the more muscle areas. So we'll briefly cross the spine in the muscle part of the back over to the buttock area here. Don, let's turn around, face the camera again. And from a starting position, he's going to put the right leg forward, both hands down, tuck the chin, move the head slightly out of the way, and he's going to roll right along this area. And you can see how the natural wheel brings him right back to the starting position. We want to practice that both right side up and left side up. Next, we're going to go to a standing progression, and he's just going to take a step, put the hands down, and do the roll from that point. The next progression we will use is putting the forward roll into a walking or running position. Don's just going to walk, put the hands down, and do the roll. The next thing we want to teach an athlete how to do is to learn how to do the roll over objects. We're going to place a dummy out in the middle of the floor here. Don's just going to walk, step over the dummy to begin with, and do the roll. The next phase we want to work on is teach the athlete how to jump over an object and do the roll. Say Don had a lineman fall in front of him here and he still wanted to make it into the end zone. We're going to work on how to run up to the object, do the jump, and roll correctly without hurting the body. That wasn't too bad. Next, we're going to progress to teaching the athlete how to jump higher over objects while still maintaining the body control and roll. We're going to stack the two dummies on top of each other, and eventually we're going to stand them up to where they make a V shape and then straight on in, and then we're going to also add throwing balls into it. So the next few levels are very advanced. I wouldn't recommend trying these at home, but I want to show you where an elite athlete can train himself to go. Okay, good. The next progression we're going to show is an exercise where we try to knock Don off balance as he's running. Especially in the National Football League where there's so much contact during each play, we need to teach an athlete how to compensate while being knocked off balance. I don't recommend this definitely to be tried at home without a qualified coach, but I want to show you the steps that we need to take. Later on, we even take Don through higher altitudes while being knocked off balance. We're going to hold that off maybe for another video because that's something that's very technical and can be dangerous if done wrong. Don's going to take a run. I'm going to throw this dummy at his feet, and he's going to try to perform the roll to compensate for that. There. No, that looks good.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the tape. I know that it was a long one, but I hope you learned a lot of things. The only thing that we didn't cover in the tape was weight training for speed. We'll be doing another video, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year, on weight training for speed. Now that you've watched this tape, though, you got to use these techniques and drills day in and day out. Get off that couch and stop being lazy. If you want to be fast and quick and be a great athlete, you got to do something every day to be better. Big or small, boy or girl, young or old, anybody, I repeat, anybody can increase their speed. And if you do these drills day in and day out, who knows? Maybe someday you can do plays just like this. Hey, that was a great play, wasn't it? I tell you, that play has been the staple for Don Beebe's career. A very positive play, and I'm very happy about that I got to do it. I'll tell you, two things come out of that play, and I talk about this around the country at banquets. Two aspects. One, kids never give up. No matter what the odds are, no matter what the score is on the scoreboard, no matter what you're doing in life, don't ever give up because you never know the outcome. And if you give up, you've just decreased your chance of making it and getting it done. The other aspect is you parents. Bring your kids up right, like my mom and dad did. They did a wonderful job. Bring them up right. Chances are, there's no guarantees, they're going to make the right play. I had a half a second to react, make the right decision, and I did because of my mom and dad. You saw the play. It happened right inside the 1 yard line. If I don't react in the right way, I would have never made the play. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And I tell you, it could be a life or death situation, like I said. Your kid has a half a second to react. Hopefully, you brought him up right. You know, there's one thing I want to leave you with. We all face trials and tribulations, everybody. Nobody has it smooth. Nobody has it rough all the time. We all face it at one point or another. One verse that I've always loved to give people is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and you bet he's going to set your path straight. I just wanted to leave you with that. Thanks for watching the tape. God bless and have a good day.